Welcome to another resource review with STEM Next monthly asset package. It's brought to you by the Indiana Afterschool Network. My name is Ryan with Magnify Learning. I want to thank you for joining me again in this series. We've got 1 minute quick hits that you can bring right to your program, 5 minute activities. It'll take you 5 minutes to get into these, and then you can run them in your youth program. So they might be a 30-minute activity for your youth, but what I'm saying here is that the resource is going to take you 5 minutes to get into, and then you can start using it. There's also a 20-minute section, and in this case today it's actually going to be 20-minute plus because I've got a webinar that's going to go longer than that. But the idea is that if you have some built-in PD time, this can be a place where you can research to get into something that would work really well for your program. But you need time to do those things. So I want to make sure that we split those up so that you're using your time the right way. If we look at our quotes for today, Sally Ride said, "I would like to be remembered as someone who was not afraid to do what she wanted to do, and as someone who took risks along the way in order to achieve her goals." The theme for this resource review is engineering, and sometimes that E in STEM can be kind of scary. I like that in Sally's quote, it talks about her goals. We want to be setting goals with our youth so they have something to move towards. And really, just if they can get in the goal setting process, if they understand the idea and the importance of goals, that is a lifelong skill that you can continually use, whether it's financial or it's motivated by your job or schooling. Setting goals is really, really important. So that might be where you take this quote. Right? You might bring this quote up with your youth and say, hey, let's jump off of this. What seems most important to you? I also like from Olivia Collier, she says, embrace feedback, not just the positives, but also constructive criticism. Do not settle until you've found the niche in engineering that you shine in. Love this idea because I'm sure you do a lot of feedback in your program. If your youth builds something and you want to get feedback on it, but let's take the constructive criticism as well as the positives. Right? Those are the things that help make us better. Those are the things that move us towards excellence. But we need to let our youth know that that's okay. And that's something that we look for in our lives, and other great engineers have done the same. Let's jump into our 5-minute resource. I mentioned this in another one of the resource reviews. This is Great Women in Engineering History. And here's the YouTube video. It's 2 minutes. But look who's driving it.
Air pollution and noise pollution during the Industrial Revolution in New York City. It was really.
Did you know Emily Warren Roebling was responsible for the? Did you know all of?
It's driven by the youth themselves. So I actually put in the notes here is, what if your youth program made this YouTube video? What if you took a list of inventors or engineers and you came up with, hey kids, I want you to have a 3-minute talk or a 30-second talk about one of these famous female engineers, and we're going to string those videos together and we're going to post it on YouTube. I think that would be awesome. I love the idea of published finished products. It really keeps our youth engaged. So I included that so you can see that and you can use that as an example. And then here's an article, but not just an article. It'll take you 5 minutes, probably longer to read this whole thing. What is environmental engineering? But what I thought might also help, interview an engineer, at the bottom there's an activity, right? So it's an article that also has an activity. So I was like, bonus, right? Let's include this one. So here you've got an incredible edible aquafire. So they create this aquafire, but you can also eat it. Anytime you have an activity where kids can learn about STEM and they get to eat the sprinkles, that sounds like a win. So check out that article. Also have another one from 4-H. I love 4-H as far as the way that they are adapting and bringing STEM to our learners of all types. And there's 4 different activities in this one article. So take a look at this article. It'll take you 5 minutes to walk through it, and you might find an activity that will be an awesome piece for your program. 20 minutes, this is the 20-minute plus, right? So the National Girls Collaborative Project has this webinar, the M in STEM, right, which is math. So it's a math webinar. It's over an hour. It's long. It's longer for us, right, in this resource review. But it also has the documents and the slides. So I thought that might be a piece that would add to it, that if you had some professional development time and you're looking at math, you might want to dive into this. So again, it's by the Million Girls Moonshot. The National Girls Collaborative brought this webinar together to look at math and STEM. And then the last resource for this resource review is the idea that STEM Next has role models training. Now you need to register for it. It's done by Tech Bridge girls, and you fill this out and then you can register for that. But the idea is how can we train our volunteers? And I know that some of you are thinking, I can barely get volunteers. How am I supposed to train them? Won't that scare them off? Research actually shows that if we can raise the level of what we're asking our volunteers, a lot of times they'll actually stay. So when we raise the level, we say, hey, you know what? You're going to be a great partner. You're going to be a wonderful volunteer. Let's get you some training. And as they get better at it and it builds their mastery, then it'll fulfill their purpose and they'll be more engaged. So I wanted to put that one in there. I really like this idea of role model training. We want role models for our youth, and giving them that training can be just what they need to keep them more engaged and be more effective in your youth program. So that's your resource review around engineering. And this is brought to you by STEM Next and the Indiana After School Network, and is broken up so that it can fit your program right now.